question, what would you do with the situation that happened? Sometimes we don't realize that even small things, what impact they have on a community which is going through a difficult time. It reminded me of a quote by Dr. Martin Luther King, who said, "History will have to record that the greatest tragedy of this period of social transition was not the strident clamor of bad people, but the appalling silence of the good people." And I think for us to be here tonight together, to be able to address this issue, addresses this concern very much so. So without wasting any time, now I'm going to pass it on to Zahra Al-Jabri. She is the Civil Rights Coordinator with Council on American Islamic Relations.
Assalamu alaikum. May peace and blessings be upon you all. I'm just going to be going through a brief presentation, just kind of setting the stage for what we're here to discuss tonight. As you all know, what happened in St. Cloud on December 8th was essentially hate spewed at the entire population. What I'm going to talk about is how this is not an isolated incident. First, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Cair, Minnesota, so that you know who we are. Hopefully you've picked up some flyers, and if you haven't, you can come down to our table later on this evening. Cair, Minnesota is a civil rights advocacy group with a mission to enhance the understanding of Islam, promote justice, and empower American Muslims. So to that end, we deal with discrimination on a daily case. We handle religious discrimination wherever it occurs. So a little bit about the Muslim population in the world. There are over 1.5 billion Muslims in the world today, and this darker blue areas show where there's a higher concentration of Muslims. In the United States, there's about 7 million Muslim Americans, and you can see the breakdown of the different countries that they're from. So Islam really is a religion that stretches beyond nationality and race, and many people of all different backgrounds are Muslim, and if you just look around this room, you can get a sense of that. Muslims in Minnesota, the demographics of the Muslim in Minnesota are slightly skewed than the general US population of Muslims. In Minnesota, we have a large concentration of Somali refugees, and we also have many other immigrant groups. In St. Cloud specifically, probably the majority of Muslims that you'll meet will be Somali, so just to point that out, but Muslims are of all different backgrounds. At Cair, Minnesota, the casework that we deal with discrimination in employment, in immigration, discrimination at schools, and FBI and police discrimination. So we get a variety of casework, and wherever these incidents occur, we try to rectify the situation in a way that we can bring people together and move forward instead of just filing a lawsuit or something like that. So I just wanted to touch on things that shape perception and that lead to the bias and hate that we can see come out from some people, as you saw in those videos. And a huge shaper of our perception of other people is the media. If you don't know someone personally, the main source for you to get information about another culture, another country, another race, another religion is through the media. And I just wanted to go through a few examples in that vein. In February of last year, one of the large Islamic mosques in Minneapolis held an open house, and it was a really magnificent event. They invited people from the community, they invited different faith groups, they opened their doors to come see, come learn what the mosque is about, find out what Muslims do, how they practice, talk to Muslims, and it was really a success by all accounts. That same evening on the news, it was reported as a suicide bomber meeting. So here you have the community trying to do something, and then you have the news telling you something else. And if you weren't there, or you didn't know, or you didn't read another article or another account, you're going to think that, oh, there was a suicide bomber meeting in St. Paul or in Minneapolis. And that's the kind of subtle or not so subtle things that are happening all the time. Another incident that we came across that happened around July 4th was a package of fireworks that had this label, as you can see. They say, "Run, Haji, run." Now, Haji is a term of honor given to Muslims who have completed the pilgrimage to Mecca. So this is a very prestigious term that a Muslim could have. And here we have it demeaned in this way with, you know, a fighter jet flying overhead and Uncle Sam pulling on a Muslim's beard. And so these images are just perpetuated, and this was in a fireworks shop around in Minneapolis, and we got that pulled off the shelves by the distributor. But you know, if people are just getting reinforced with these images, these are the things that are shaping their perception. And if you don't have a chance to speak with Muslim co-workers, students, fellow classmates, anything like that, then these are the images that you're seeing. And hopefully what we're trying to do at this town hall is to say that you can't base your judgments on these scattered and few incidents that you get from the media. The consequences of perception. So here we have two images. We have an Islamic center that had graffiti written all over it. We have another building that's been burned down. And again, here, this is an arson that happened in Blaine in 2008. Three men came into this man's convenience store, a Muslim man's convenience store, and threw a Molotov cocktail at him. He ducked and it missed him, but his store was destroyed, and they found graffiti that says that on the side door. And another consequence of perception is what we had seen at St.Cloud. So all of this is to say that some people are saying this was just, you know, it was just posters, they're just flyers, they didn't hurt anyone, he didn't threaten anyone, nothing bad happened. But what we're trying to say is this is a pattern of things that are happening that, although they may be seem small and like, oh, it's just a box of fireworks, it's just a joke, when you put them all together, it leads to bigotry, essentially. And you can see from the video that we just watched what happens when someone just has believed in those things and hasn't questioned them, and will be okay to discriminate against someone that, to the point that they can't even buy an apple strudel at a store. You know, they're in the store with you, they're not doing anything different than you. Just because of the way they dress, the way they look, we're not going to serve you at a store. So this is the type of thing that we're here to address today. How are we going to stop these small incidents from building up and continuing so that we don't end up with this wide perception that we have? And with that, I'm going to turn it now back to Kashif.